Good evening and welcome to this edition of Newsleader on 6. Today is Tuesday, March the 6th, 2018. I'm Jim Fuller.
And I'm Andrew Todd. In tonight's news, Tullahoma's most distinguished young women were selected Saturday night. We'll hear more from gubernatorial candidate Randy Boyd. And over the heated objections of one of its members, the Tullahoma Planning Commission last week approved the plans for a convenience market at the corner of Clement Drive and West Side Drive. We'll have all these stories and more on tonight's Newsleader on 6.
Keith Barnett here at Russell Barnett Kia in Tullahoma. Check out this 2017 Kia Forte, yours today, $279 a month. Or check out the 2018 Kia Sorento, up to $4,000 off. Kia is the power to surprise. And remember, why buy anywhere else?
All I have to do to think about what I was physically before and what I am now, and I don't ever want to go back to that original situation.
The overall mission of the rehab team is always what is best for the patient and how we can facilitate maximum potential from every resident.
Well, the most important thing to me is that I'm allowed to do whatever I want to do,
Everyday miracles at Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Welcome back. The annual Distinguished Young Women's Pageant was held at Tullahoma High School Saturday night. Bob Payne brings us this video of as the winners are announced.
Now for the moment we've all been waiting for, the award for Cumberland Valley's and Tullahoma's Distinguished Young Women. Presenting the award for Tullahoma's Distinguished Young Women will be Katie Brock-Bodak and Jessica McChesney, Tullahoma's Distinguished Young Woman for 2018. Winner of the title of Tullahoma's Distinguished Young Woman, the $1,500 scholarship and the opportunity to compete for Tennessee's Distinguished Young Woman is number 13, Madison Doherty.
And we are blessed to have sufficient sponsorship to have two that we send on to state. Helping with the presentation of our second award winner is Jody George, Cumberland Valley's Distinguished Young Woman of 2018, and Katie Brock-Bodak. Our Cumberland Valley Distinguished Young Woman for 2019, and the winner of a $1,500 scholarship is contestant number 12, Miss Kennedy Street. Parents, you have done an outstanding job in raising a great bunch of kids, and I congratulate you for your work.
My name is Jessica McChesney. I'm the Distinguished Young Woman of Tullahoma of 2018, and I'm standing next to the Distinguished Young Woman of Tullahoma of 2019. I'm so proud of you and everything that you've done in this program. What has been your favorite part of tonight, Madison?
I think my favorite part has to have seen all of these hardworking girls, all their hard work pay off. I loved getting to watch from the wings, all the girls put all the practice that they've done and be able to put it on stage tonight.
And what are your plans to prepare for state? I know that's a big deal, and you have a good possibility of winning, so how do you feel about that?
I think just more hard work, pressing in talent practice, interview practice, just making sure I'm just hitting up on all those skills.
Well, we know that you'll do great, and again, this is Madison Doherty, the Distinguished Young Woman of Tullahoma for 2019. We are so proud.
Thank you.
My name is Jessica McChesney, the Distinguished Young Woman of Tullahoma of 2018, coming at you again with the Distinguished Young Woman of Cumberland Valley of 2019, Kennedy Street. How are you feeling right now, and what are you most excited about?
I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed, but really excited. I'm really excited to move forward and just get to have the opportunity to work with so many more amazing girls and challenge myself and work forward for that.
Well, you did awesome tonight, and we are so excited for you to have this title and know you will represent us so well. What's been your favorite part about tonight?
I think my favorite part has just been working with all these girls and seeing how amazing they are, and mostly just being able to work so hard with what I'm doing and realize that I'm capable of anything that I can do.
Well, thank you so much. And again, this is the Distinguished Young Woman of Cumberland Valley of 2019, Kennedy Street.
The Tullahoma Cumberland Valley Distinguished Young Women's Program is part of a national program that promotes and rewards scholarship, leadership, and talent in young women. Cash scholarships are awarded at the local level, as well as millions in college granted scholarships totaling $1.5 billion nationally. Madison and Kennedy will advance to the state program in Cleveland, Tennessee, where they will have the opportunity to win more than $12,000 in cash tuition scholarships. We'll be right back with more Newsleader right after this.
Keith Barnett here at Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma and Winchester. Check out this 2018 Ford Focus, $299 a month. Or check out the 2018 Ford F-150 up to $9,000 off. Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma and Winchester. And remember, why buy anywhere else?
When your family suffers the loss of a loved one, the caring and compassionate staff at Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel are standing by to assist you in every way possible. We are proud to support local industry and offer only Batesville caskets. Many funeral homes don't own or operate a crematory. We utilize the only crematory in Coffee County. Your loved one never leaves Coffee County. We can accommodate any need and any budget. Consider our complete pre-need service to remove this burden from your family during their time of grief. Lock in today's low costs and protect from inflation. Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel. Our family caring for your family.
Welcome back. Gubernatorial candidate Randy Boyd was in Tullahoma last week for a town hall meeting. Tonight we bring you part 2 of our coverage of that event.
First company we mentioned, 23, failed. Started my second company at age 24, which was a company that was very glamorous. I had a Dodge Maxi van, no air conditioning, no radio, selling electric fencing out of the back of my van, my dad's product, along with some other things like stock prods, float valves, little feed and farm supply stores all over the southeast. Typical rack jobber, you go into the store, take your order. The average order is about $100. Go out to the van, bring it in, put it on the shelf, use their price gun to price it, collect your check. Usually the average order is about $100. Drive 30 miles down the road to the next store. Do that 10 times a day until at the end of the day, you stay at the absolute best hotel you can find for under $18 a night. And they're out there, by the way. But you do this, and I mentioned I didn't have the air conditioning again because I'm cheap and it just uses gas. There was a theme there. But I didn't have the radio because I wanted to make sure I was listening to my customers. And I found in life that if you listen to your customers and listen well, they'll tell you what they need. In this case, they started asking me for this product called the Invisible Fence. The company wouldn't sell it to me, so I decided to make my own. Jenny and I bet everything we owned, which was a grand total of $26,000, but it was everything we owned on designing our first product. Quick side note. So usually I go talk to the students at UT and entrepreneurship about, and it's a much longer story about how we started our business, and I'll tell them that. But I never actually shared that little part of the story with my wife before. But there's a lot of things that you do with your wife when you're campaigning that you normally don't do. So she's in a room like this, and I share that part. And afterwards, she comes up to me and says, "You never told me we bet everything we own." "You remember? We talked about it." You know, bless their hearts, our wives don't hear everything that we tell them, and sometimes they think they tell us stuff that they really didn't. But anyway, it turned out to be a good bet. Today we have, actually we're up to 700 employees, 420 million in sales, 4,600 different products under the brand names, Pet Safe, Sport Dog, and Invisible Fence. That company that wouldn't sell to me, 10 years later, we were able to go back and call them and say, "I know you didn't want to sell us the product before, but we can sell the company." So we were able to buy the company. Do I have any Invisible Fence customers in the room? You know? Well, great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Behind the camera. Awesome. So here's the deal. You guys buy, on the battery plan, you buy batteries on a regular basis. So when I had 2 stints working for the government, and both times I didn't take pay. As the governor, I'm also planning on not taking pay. But it's conditional on you guys continuing to buy batteries. You stop buying batteries, I might have to charge you. So we got to have this relationship continue. I tell all that to say that I think it's important that the next governor be somebody that knows how to run a business, knows something about making payroll. I think it's also something, or it's useful that the next governor is actually an entrepreneur. And the reason why I believe that, because by definition, an entrepreneur has to be innovative and they have to be disruptive. And my little bit of experience in public service, I believe that government needs some disruption and needs some innovation. So I hope to be able to bring that to public service. But lastly, the only last thing I'll mention about myself is have had the opportunity to give back in multiple ways. I've been a Boy Scout master for 7 years. I started a troop. I've been involved in still a Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and a lot of different ways in which I can directly give back. But 10 years ago, I had the opportunity to be able to start a program called Knox Achieves in Knoxville. It started off with a trade. I was going to make Knoxville the most pet-friendly city in America, which makes sense for a guy in the pet business. Had all these things from dog parks to pets on patios that I needed help from the county mayor. County mayor said, I'll help you with your dream if you'll help me with mine. His dream was for every kid in Knox County to go to technical college and community college for free. We created this program called Knox Achieves that provided a last dollar scholarship that allowed them to go with private donors. We also matched them with a mentor. For those that are mentors, thank you for being mentors, because that's the most important part of the program. And we required my one contribution to the idea, being a Boy Scout master. When you earn a badge, you have to do a community service project. I said, if we're going to do this for the community, but the community's going to do this for them, they have to do something back. So every semester, they get 1 day's worth of community service. That's how it started. Within 3 years, we sent 1,000 kids to school, all matched with mentors, and thought, life is good. I'll keep running my business. Maybe before I die, we'll send 10,000 kids to school, and that'll be my contribution. But something happened. One of my board members, City Mayor Bill Haslam, got a job in Nashville as the governor, says, this is a good idea. Roll it out across the state. 4 years later, we're in 27 counties, sent 5,000 kids in a single year to technical and community college for free, all matched with mentors, all provided by private dollars. And then, I guess this one big change in my life happened. The governor called me up again and says, hey, why don't you come to work for me in state government? And I said, no way. I'm a businessman. I could never be in government. It's too slow. It's too bureaucratic. If you don't know, he's a pretty good salesman. He says, look, if you come to work for me, everything you said is true. It's going to be bureaucratic. It's going to be slow. But if you can get something done, it can be transformative. And that 1 year I learned two things. One, he was right. And that 1 year we were able to create something called the Drive to 55, an overarching mission for our state to go from 32% post-secondary attainment to 55%. And if you wanted to ask, we would go into the whole history of the creation of the Drive to 55, but that was a term I coined one Sunday morning, sending an email off to him. He said, hey, that sounds good. It's kind of fun to see how it stuck. But many of the other ideas didn't stick, but that one stuck. We created this whole vision for our state to take us to another level in education, and then created a whole series of strategies, but one of which was to make sure everybody had access. And the access part was taking that little idea we had in Knoxville, creating an endowment, and calling it the Tennessee Promise, that now allows every kid in the state of Tennessee to go to technical college and community college free of charge forever. And that's when I learned, in public service, you can do things that are bigger, more lasting, and impact more people and do more good than you could ever do by yourself. And so that's when I became committed to working in public service.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
It's not invoice. It's not MSRP. It's not Christmas Day, although it may feel like it. It's the lowest prices in Middle Tennessee, period. Get to Stan McNabb Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram or Stan McNabb Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac before these prices are gone forever.
All right, the cat's out of the bag at Carroll Street Liquor in Tullahoma. Now you know where to go if you're planning a get-together and want the ideal wine or spirit. Party planning can be stressful, but at Carroll Street Liquor you'll find everything you need. Mixers, gift sets, and all of your favorite spirit brands. So if you're feeling the pressure to pull off the ideal party, come to Carroll Street Liquor and select among the seemingly endless supply of wines, spirits, gift sets, and more. Your perfect party, it's in the bag with Carroll Street Liquors.
Attention Shoeistas, Bryn's Shoe Boutique in Tullahoma is closing forever. Every item in the store is reduced for immediate sale. Brenda is offering huge discounts on her entire inventory of fashion women's shoes, designer handbags, and jewelry, featuring famous brands like Yellow Box, Nine West, Bandolero, Impo, Coach, Michael Kors, Joseph Ribkop, and others. The sale is underway now through March 3rd. Hurry in for huge savings at Bryn's Shoe Boutique, 115 Northwest Atlantic Street, Tullahoma. Open 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday and 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturday.
Welcome back. The Tullahoma Planning Commission approved last week by a vote of 6-1 plans to build a convenience market on the corner of Clement Drive and Westside Drive despite vigorous objections from residents of Oak Park subdivision. Planning Commission member Bill Comer cast the lone dissenting vote.
I move that we vote for the approval of the site plan as listed in the package.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
I have a motion on the table. I have a second. Larry, so I'm going to hand you the gavel. I'm going to stand down as chairman, and I'll second that motion so we can get the motion out on the table for discussion.
Okay, we have a motion and second to recommend the approval of the site plan as presented in the packet. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no.
No.
What was the count, Nina?
6-1 with Mr. Comer opposed.
All right, it passes.
Mr. Chairman, we had an action item from last week to have our executive director report out on 2 issues. We have not had a report on those 2 issues.
There you go, still Chairman.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. But we voted and it's passed, so there's no discussion.
So, yeah,
well, I think you're in violation of the what's called for in the last minute. So if that's the case, then I rise to a point of order that this meeting is out of order because it's not called for the purpose of responding to what was approved by motion in the last meeting.
I think that the questions that were asked of staff were answered by staff.
I have not heard an answer. Am I not a member of this commission?
yes, you are.
And I'd like to have an answer.
I've got it. On the question of consistency, the city's comprehensive plan calls for the development, specifically commercial development, at this intersection. So we're consistent with the city's comprehensive plan. There's a question about alcohol separation. There was a city ordinance 1440, which was adopted September 23, 2013, which repealed separation requirements between churches and stores that sell alcohol. There's a question of traffic or DOT concern. We now have from the city engineer the actual traffic count from 2016, which is the last time that TDOT did a survey. There's also presented information from the staff on the Institute of Transportation Engineers as presented in the General Trip Generation Manual, 9th edition, on the average trips. With the Comprehensive Transportation Plan, the Transportation Plan has the level of service measured at this intersection as a B. So this is the same grading scale of A, B, C, D, or F, with F representing an area that would not be an area for approval. This is a B, so clearly this is an area that meets all requirements. On the building setbacks, both buildings meet all minimum setbacks as required by the zoning ordinance in our table TZ1. Gas pumps and dumpsters do not fit the definition of main building as defined in Article 2 of the zoning ordinance. The zoning classification: on July 24th, 1989, the Board of Mayor and Aldermen conducted a public hearing and voted to pass at first reading ordinance number 990 to rezone the area of Clement Drive and Westside Drive intersection to C2 commercial. Noted in the approved meeting minutes, there was no participation from the audience during the public meeting. Subsequently, on August 14th, 1989, the Board of Mayor and Aldermen adopted ordinance 990 by passing the second reading. So those were the concerns that were brought up to staff during the last meeting. Those have been addressed.
Is that the only ones that's been addressed?
Yes, sir, those are the only ones that were
the 2 that I specifically noted have not been addressed, and one is the compliance with the zoning ordinance change in 1989, whether or not that was properly advertised and recorded or not. And second was the drainage issue. And I didn't hear you read anything about either one of those 2 issues.
I don't recollect any questions about drainage. This board doesn't approve the stormwater plan. That's up to Public Works for us to hold a permit up for a regulation that we're not given power to issue. We would be under, we'd be going beyond the boundaries of the powers of this board.
Well, have you submitted this to the city attorney for his opinion?
I have not submitted it to the city attorney.
Well, you asked last time at this meeting to have the city engineer here at this meeting.
I told him that he was supposed to be at the meeting, but then there was a special call meeting. There wasn't enough time or notice to let him know to be here.
And I again make my claim that this meeting is not proper in compliance with a motion that was passed at our last meeting. And in my opinion, the proper due diligence has not been done.
By whom?
By you and your staff.
My staff was not required to do that.
A motion was made and asked.
You asked for a reason. to check into the rezoning and check into the zoning compliance for the site plan, and which we did, and I have
I stand by my statement.
I've addressed, they voted already, so I mean, we could talk to the attorney. Sorry, it was a 7-1 or 6-1 vote.
Kind of a railroad vote, wasn't it?
That's out of order.
You're not the chairman, so you're out of order.
All right, this time we'll be adjourned. Thank you.
More Newsleader on 6 is coming up in a moment.
Keith Barnett here at Russell Barnett Chevrolet GMC in Winchester. Check out this 2018 Chevrolet Equinox, $229 a month. Or get up to $10,000 off select 2018 Chevrolet Silverados. That's Russell Barnett Chevrolet GMC in Winchester. Why buy anywhere else?
We're losing it, Doctor.
Not on my shift. Quickly, brush. Roller.
What a transformation. It's gonna be okay.
Okay, nothing.
At Paintworks of Tullahoma, we specialize in domestic emergencies with Martin Senior Paints. You can be the paint doctor too when you treat your home with Martin Senior interior and exterior finishes.
Doctor, we've got another one.
Got you covered.
Paintworks of Tullahoma. Come see the paint doctor, Stat.
Welcome back. Tullahoma Police Chief Paul Blackwell stopped by our studios recently to talk about the problems with speeding in the city.
Speed enforcement is something that we do on a regular basis. And some of the things we've done in Tullahoma to make people aware of their speed is put out solar speed signs. We've got 8 of them in the community right now. We just installed our 8th one a couple weeks ago up on North Jackson. So as you're coming in from Moore County, Bedford County, as soon as you enter the city limits, we have a solar speed sign there that flashes the speed and basically says you're going too fast or slow it down. And these solar speed signs, you know, are very technical. I mean, we go in and we can program them for different settings and different messages and, you know, things of this nature. What we tell people though is we don't take pictures. These are not speed enforcement cameras. So we're not taking your picture. Some of them do have the ability to take a picture. Say we set a maximum speed of say 75. And at 75, it'll take a picture. It can take a picture of your vehicle. That way, we can use that for enforcement to say, okay, we've gotten this car coming through 3 days in a row at 75 miles an hour. We need to be out there.
That's interesting.
At say 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
And watch for this green or red car or whatever it may be coming through. So we can use it in that fashion, but it's not a speed camera similar to what we've heard of in the news.
Now, and the speed limit in Tullahoma in most places is 30 to 40 miles an hour.
If it's not posted, it's 30 miles an hour by statute.
Right, so if you're doing 75, you're way
and I'm just using that for an example. But when we put that speed sign up on North Jackson, we ran a couple diagnostics on it to make sure everything was working right. And Lieutenant came in and told me we did get a couple 69 mile an hour coming into Tullahoma. So, and it's a 40 mile an hour speed zone. So that did raise a little bit of concern that, all right, we need to run some analysis and, you know, get some data and see if we have some that are truly coming into town at that speed and directing our patrols based on that. And then, of course, we have our speed trailer that we move around to different parts of town. And that one, again, can do all this fancy stuff. It can do gather statistics for us. It doubles as a message board, and it will take pictures, and it'll send that picture to us to a computer if we've set it a certain parameter. So again, that same principle that, okay, if we've had a car that came through here at 50, 60, 70 miles an hour, it'll take a picture of it. We can see it, and then we can, you know, do our enforcement based on that.
Is there just one of those?
One speed trailer, yes.
Okay.
And we move it to different locations.
So the other ones you were speaking of are stationary?
Stationary.
Yeah, okay.
But we have, they are designed to where we could take them off the pole and move them to a different location. We've got a couple poles in Tullahoma that don't have the signs on them. So if we needed to move them to that location, we could do that. So if you go drive around town, you see a nice decorative black pole that doesn't have anything on it, that's another potential location for us to move that sign to.
And before I forget, now it displays your speed, but if I recall, if it's flashing, you're going too fast. Is that right?
Yeah, it'll have the set speed, so let's say the speed limit's 40. And if you come in at 35, it'll just show you 35. But if you're coming in at 45, it'll be flashing at you. Mm-hmm. And that's the indicator that you may want to pay attention, you're going too fast.
And you folks may or may not remember this, but when Paul previewed the first one of those, one of the aldermen asked about it at a board meeting, and he said, wanted to know why it's flashing, and Paul, in a very diplomatic way, said that meant you were speeding. That's why it's flashing at him.
Yeah. So, they're all around town, and they're designed to make people just aware and to slow down. Speed is very important. We write a lot of citations for going 16 miles an hour over the speed limit. I'm always, each month when I do the statistics, it just, I don't say amazes me because I don't want to sound as though I'm surprised, but how many people we're writing tickets for going over 16 miles an hour
and
over the speed limit. That's significant.
Yeah. Is that reckless driving?
Depending on the circumstances, it could be.
Yeah,
like if it's, say, a school zone or where there's some other factor that would make it reckless, but it can be.
And don't forget to tune into this week's The Living Show tonight at 6:30 p.m., Thursday morning at 9 a.m., and Thursday, Friday, and Saturday evenings at 6:30 p.m. This week's guests include our local Coffee County 4-H agent, Michelle Matthews, who will update us about all the activities happening with the 4-H, and we'll hear from John and Pat, who will share some stories about Ben's Jordan. All that and more on this week's Living.
And stay with us. We'll have your weather forecast right after these messages.
I have 30 seconds to tell you about RussellBarnett.com. We're going to find over 1,000 new and pre-owned vehicles, RussellBarnett.com. We're going to get your trade appraised, RussellBarnett.com. We're going to get financing done, RussellBarnett.com. We're going to get collision repair assistance, RussellBarnett.com. We're going to get auto rental assistance, RussellBarnett.com. We are the one-stop shop, one click away. Why click anywhere else?
Can you imagine a world without beauty, without color, without creativity, without art? Neither can we. Keep arts alive and experience all kinds of arts and crafts at the first annual Arts Alive Tullahoma on the lawn of the newly renovated grounds of the South Jackson Civic Center, May 26th and 27th. For details, visit TullahomaArtsCouncil.com and come spend the day at our fun, family-oriented art festival.
Welcome back. We'll take a look at your weather forecast at this time, starting with your weather history on this day. Our record high was in 1955 at 77 degrees. The record low was in 1960 at 12 degrees. The average high on this day is 58 and the average low is 36. Partly cloudy weather expected tonight with a low of around 35. Mostly cloudy weather in the forecast on Wednesday with 45 degrees as our high, and our low will be around 30. Partly cloudy weather continues in the forecast for Thursday with a high of 46 and a low of 29. And that's our Newsleader report for this evening. We invite you to join us each Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 6, 8, and 10 for Newsleader on 6. You have a good evening.
Have a great evening.